Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
Super Mario. 1, 2, and 3. There's power in numbers. Nintendo. Now you're playing with power. Each game sold separately.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We contacted on Twitter. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Emails like podtendo@gmail.com, and I think we're on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast. So that's how that works. We're a Let's Play review retrospective pop culture show. I'm your co-host, Mick, and I can be joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Tyson.
Cool, yo. So there we are. Weeks worth of content. So third week in a row, on YouTube specifically, but at least second week in a row where you're getting Mario content. We're putting in fresh coat of paint. This was our very first show ever. We pumped out Mario 1, 2, and 3, and maybe even Maker. It was a mess. Audio quality wasn't great because we were just figuring stuff out. We're putting a fresh coat of paint, like Tyson eloquently described. We're Mario All-Starsing these games for this month of Mario. I think I said everything, right?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. This one's a big one. I know we got one more in the works, but this one is definitely jostles for one of my favorite games of all time. Spoilers, everybody. This game's something special, so I'm glad you tuned in.
Yeah, no, and for definitely a special show, and like Tyson alluded to, this is one of the kind of big guys, right? This is heavy hitter, and yeah, it's good, top to bottom. Let's, I guess, dive into it. So we got Super Mario Brothers 3 on the docket today. It was developed by Nintendo R&D 4. It sold 17 million copies. It was released February 12th, 1990. How Long to Beat has this game at 5 hours. Price at release was $49 or $39.99. If you factor in inflation, that'd be $79.59 today, which is weird because I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same as the last one. I wonder if I just didn't change anything and figured no one would notice, but I noticed.
It's only 1 year worth of inflationary adjustment, so it's about 3%.
It might be the same. All right, and then eBay, you can get a copy of this game for $20. It's not bad. I've never actually owned a copy of this game, so for $20 I could finally own it, or $3,000 for a graded copy of this game. Again, don't do that, people. It's stupid. And it is odd how we're seeing an increase in these. Oh, I see. And as we're moving forward, and grading is kind of coming in for comics and figures and games. It's interesting how they're starting to pop up on eBay a little bit more, where they're like, this is now the standard, right? You can get like an inboxed copy. It's like mint condition. It's $3,000 or something, right? So kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna spend $3,000 on this and expect that, like, oh, this thing is gonna be worth millions one day, it's like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. That's like, if you had the very first printed one, then yes. But there are still copies of these, and essentially things go up in price when they become more and more scarce. There is a select number of these, and it's not like people are opening them or destroying them. Most collectors are keeping them in a box on a shelf in good condition. So expecting it to go up dramatically is expecting that a bunch of these collectors are having issues, but it's like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Fair enough. And then Eshop, right? It's available on the NES Online. It's also on the SNES Online as part of the Super Mario All-Star Pack. So for whatever the subscription costs you for a year, just the basic one, you get it there. You can also buy it on your Wii, your Wii U's. Super Mario All-Star releases on the original copies. It's on the 3DS. They're about $5 each. It's a good time.
Yeah. It's released everywhere, everybody.
Very accessible. Hopefully you've played it. If not, go out, play this darn game for the month of November. Do yourself a darn favor. But before we get into this game specifically, we do have to, again, we want to put our Podtendo fresh coat of paint on this fine game, give it the right treatment. So we have to jump into our patented Wayback Machine. We have to travel back to February 12th, 1990, and discover what did the pop culture landscape look like when this game came out. So we're going to do a little bit of an abridged version, just ever so slightly, so that we can get all this fun content in this month. So top TV shows around this time were Beverly Hills 90210, Seinfeld, Law and Order, Fresh Prince, Saved by the Bell, Full House, Quantum Leap. In terms of cartoons, we have Bobby's World, Captain Planet, Swamp Thing, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, and Tiny Toon Adventures.
Boom. This is a big time. Lots of like Fresh Prince, Saved by the Bell, Full House. These are like Seinfeld, Law and Order, like still like Law and Order is still bloody going. So like huge franchises, and Bobby's World is awesome. Super Mario, The Adventures of Super Mario 3, like great. Tiny Toons Adventures, their summer vacation movie is just delightful. It's a masterpiece. Yeah. And then Swamp Thing, a mature comic. Let's make a cartoon for kids.
Yep, pretty much. And then that's a interesting I mean, they did that with all those things like Aliens and stuff like that, toys and stuff, right? And like we'd play them, Mom's like, I don't know, it's pretty scary, guys. We watched it, we would cry for like the next 3 weeks. Well, I told you.
But it had a comic and toys.
Yeah. Stupid. So we were once watching some movies, and we were watching actually the Aliens movies, doing like a big rewatch, and I mentioned this comic, and the guy I was watching it with like went online and found the full run of comics. The one was like Monster Rhinos. So I was pretty excited to look through those at some point. They're not good, but
no, it's 90s comics.
It's like the nostalgia. We left the comic at grandma's, and we'd like read it. It was like 5 pages. We'd read it. We'd go there and be like, wow, aliens.
Wonder what happens next.
Yeah.
And then we'd make up our own backstory for like all the different characters. It was fun.
Yeah, good times. Other movies though that were released around this time were this month we got Hard to Kill, The Haunting of Morella, and The Witches.
Ooh, The Witches is fantastic.
1990. Is that the one though? Oh yeah, it is that one.
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah, the one where the witches are in the hotel and they come across the kid. Very dark ending. It's a Roald Dahl movie. Me, Mom, and my girlfriend watched it recently, and it like the remake with Anne Hathaway. Yeah, and like everybody was so shocked at the ending. It's like, do you not remember the original? Like I was scarred as a kid. Remember it? Like there's some pretty horrific stuff, but.
Yeah, no, it's definitely mature, again, very mature stuff for children. There we go. So how about top video games that were released this month, or maybe this year? We saw Tetris and Castlevania 3. Because I definitely remember us mentioning The Haunting of Morella at some point, being like, what is that about? I think it was on Castlevania 3, so that kind of like worked. But I couldn't really find a definitive list. Maybe Sonic came out this year? I'm not sure. Yeah.
90s is a big year, so.
Yeah, these early ones, too. I realize we're, like, going a further away from this, and, like, we've hit lots of N64 games, which are definitively, like, this is what was released here, right? But these early ones back in the 80s, they're just kind of a mess, so I just throw something together to entertain you folks. However, if you listen to them all, and, like, they would be a lot of repeats. But luckily, we're into the later 90s and more of our other shows, so we don't have to do this anymore. But we do have to do this one more time. Top 3 songs according to the Billboard charts February 12th, 1990, before we can get out of this time and set things right. It was number 3 was Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Mellow. Why is everything so mellow?
Yeah, why is 2 Phil Collins? Where's my Janet Jackson?
Is she coming? I don't even know if she's in this one, to be honest with you.
No, she would be. She's coming in the 90s. I'm just missing my Janet.
Yeah, poor Janet. The number 2 song, which I guess spoilers, isn't Janet Jackson though. It is How Am I Supposed to Live Without You by Michael Bolton. I mean, it's to the point. That's nice. Yeah.
Yep. Good slow dance song.
Good slow dance song. Can I? There it is. The iTunes search function is just super phenomenal because I had a little bit of trouble finding the number one song, but I found it now, everyone. We can calm down and we can just listen to Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul. Cause I am like a cat. Bam, bam.
It's like
All right.
a cat.
All right.
Or is it dressed like a cat?
Because I am dressed like a cat. Something like that. I don't know. Maybe she did a video with like Heathcliff, but then like Family Guy did a parody. I don't know what's real anymore. So yeah.
All
right.
I wasn't born. I was born then, but it's just I definitely was not aware of making notes of the social goings on.
Yeah, I mean, as a 2-year-old, you were pretty ignorant to what the goings on in the world. So, yikes.
Yep.
All right. How about the development details of this game? Now we know what the pop cultural landscape looks like. Development began shortly after the 1986 release of The Lost Levels. It took more than 2 years to complete. The team of 10 had a budget of $800,000 to about $1.3 million as a budget for this game, and adjusted for inflation, that would be about $1.8 to $2.8 million today. Miyamoto worked as the director and worked closely on the design of the final stages. They originally wanted the game to be played from an isometric point of view, but they found it was too difficult to make jumps. It sounds very difficult. The game was designed to appeal to players of various skills. That is why there are a lot of bonus coins and 1-ups in the earlier levels. They introduced new power-ups. They wanted to include one that turned Mario into a centaur, but it was dropped in favor of the raccoon tail. New enemy designs were drawn from the team's personal experiences, such as a Chain Chomp being a barking dog that once lunged at one of the designers. The Koopalings were each uniquely designed to give them distinct personalities. Koji Kondo composed the music for this game, just like he had for previous entries into this series. A ROM chip shortage in 1988 delayed Nintendo being able to fully promote this game. Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, was also affected during this time. This did give Nintendo extra time and allowed them to promote the game in 1989's movie, The Wizard. The marketing budget of this game was $25 million.
Dang, the marketing budget of this game is huge considering the actual cost of developing it.
Yeah, so all in, they were about sitting at, $27 million to make this game and, pump it out to the masses?
Yeah. And
they only sold 17 million copies. I mean, I guess that's pretty good profit at $40 a pop, so.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm sure this game definitely made money.
Oh, yeah.
But also, this game was also probably selling consoles where they probably made a fortune.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, true, fair enough. Yeah, because you always had to have the Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 2, and Mario Brothers 3 if you owned an NES. You couldn't not have them, so.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So.
All right. So then back into this game specifically, not Atlantically, we're going to look at the controls. So they're pretty standard platformers. I feel like you have a lot more control and you made our jumps than you did specifically in the first one, and a little bit more, I think, than Mario 2. Just feels a little bit more kind of concise. The power-ups in this game are Super Mushrooms, Fire Flowers, the new Super Leaf, and Tanuki suits that give you a little tail, and you can fly temporary if you have enough momentum, as well as you can fall in style. A P-Wing, which is just a permanent momentum bar, which allows you to fly permanently. It only works on one level, however. A frog suit that sucks on land, but lets you swim better underwater. And finally, there's a rare Hammer Bros suit that allows you to throw hammers, and as soon as you use it, you will take damage by a very simple enemy that would never ever hit you before, and you will lose it instantly, and you're like, what a shame, and I hate it so much.
Yeah. It was always one of the funnest parts of this game is the just collecting all the all the power-ups.
Yeah.
The power-ups were so much fun, and you got to store them. So I remember when you're playing with 2-player, you're both running around on the map. So if you're first player and you don't really want to progress, you really want somebody to let's say beat the level before a Toad House, so you could use your level going into the Toad House. That was always the strategies.
Yeah, like a little bit of a Scheisler too, right? And it did create a funner gameplay experience where it did seem kind of like you were doing a campaign together or something, right? So it was done very well. Again, yeah, I guess this game is the first one to introduce a world map where you move around kind of little set areas in each world. Adds just extra to the gameplay rather than you just randomly jumping from like world 1-1 to 2 to 3 to 4, etc. Right? So, first memories of this game. Again, I think before I started playing video games, I believe this game was already kind of in existence. It was released. So it just kind of always seemed like it was a bigger and better adventure compared to kind of the previous entries. You'd play 1 and 2, for a little bit, but you'd want to complete number 3, right? So you might start playing 1 or you start playing 2, but you quit. You never really got through it. But when you started playing 3, it was like a serious, like, this is my afternoon, I'm going to play this for 2 hours, right? It always just seemed like a much grander adventure.
Yeah. And I think we played the All-Star Pack, like I've said previously. This game was like the game because we would stress. We're like, man, how can we save the game? We just want to save the freaking game so we can come back and replay it. And I think you would have to die or get a game over, then it would go save and continue, and save and quit.
Something,
and then it would give you something like that. But this was, and I know like we played some Turtles in Time, but I don't know many other games besides like Donkey Kong Country, which was a much later game, that gave us the experience of going through a whole campaign together. Yeah. It really was. This game kind of set the standard moving forward. So instead of playing one, I'm sure other games did this, but in the Mario franchise, this was the first game that gave you the opportunity to kind of make it a grander thing. Mm-hmm. It was really an adventure as opposed to a quick little quest. Yeah. Where you're gonna sit down, play the game, and get as far as you can, and then quit. Or hopefully beat it. Whereas in this game, it really made you want to sit down, play this, pick up where you left off, and keep going. Because each world is so expansive and kind of has its own has its own ruler and has its own neat little aesthetic. Mm-hmm. It felt so much more lived in. It felt like this really was like a Mushroom Kingdoms, where all these different worlds exist, and you're really traveling across the land, trying to fix everything. And it felt grandiose. It was awesome.
For lore building and all those other kind of intangibles, it was huge, right? Like it kind of pushed it, I think, to that next level, right? And not a lot of games took those steps. Some of them did. Sometimes it was much later, right? So, for example, Castlevania. The Castlevania series is great, but Symphony Night pushes it to the next upper echelon, whereas this was kind of Mario's Symphony of the Night, right? This was that big step in the next direction. So.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. On to the story of this game. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty and look at our level notes Let's Play section. So once again, Bowser has kidnapped Princess. And this time, his 7 children have taken over the 7 kingdoms that make up the Mushroom Kingdom. It is up to the 2 brothers to defeat the evil army and save the Mushroom Kingdom. Wow. What a great story.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I wonder if Bowser really, imagine the world of Metal or imagine if this was on a big world map. There's kind of this is this land, this is this land, this is this land. Over that mountain, where all those volcanoes and junk is, that's Bowser's land. That's not really a kingdom. That's just more of garbage land. Yeah. We're the Mushroom Kingdom. Then there's Bowser's junk over there.
I was assuming that World 8 Darkland or something was underground or something, right?
Could be.
Yeah,
could
that's
be.
why it's is kind of dark and they've got the fires or something. So, or I guess more it's maybe a Mordor situation. You're right. There's a weird evil part of the land, and you're that seems interesting. So, level notes section. So, these are kind of our Let's Play. We're gonna now that these levels have a bit more variety and design, we're gonna look at our least and favorite part of each world in general that the game presents. So, World 1, grass/mountain area. What is your favorite part of World 1?
Yeah, I think we both got the same one for this.
Yes.
But it's the finding the warp whistles. I'll pick the one specifically in World 1-3. Holding on the block and going down and slipping behind everything and running behind it and getting your first warp whistle was such a mind-breaking thing. Whoa, you can move behind things in a game. It was just it was that moment was just kind of the curtain behind the man behind the man behind the curtain got revealed, and you're there's so much more going on in these games. And as a kid, that was just incredible. Yeah. And so when I was playing it on this time, I actually broke it where I did the trick where like you fall down, but I was like, can I like use the power up like and fly to the top of the screen to try to activate it? And if you do that, it actually stops it from working.
Interesting.
So even if you run down and run back and forth and try it again, it won't activate. You've locked it. It's super like weird that it's just like if you drop, you just have to literally run straight. You can't fly up or do anything like that. So
cool.
Something you'd never come across, but I just figured it out this time.
Cool. Yeah. So like Tyson alluded to, that's my favorite. I guess I'll take the hidden door in the castle. You got that. There's a power up. You fly up above instead of fighting Boom Boom. You get your little treasure chest. You pull out your warp whistle. The fact that this was alluded to in again the previous mentioned 1989's The Wizard was kind of neat, and it was a really interesting marketing tactic where they showed you one of the big hints, one of the big secrets. So watching that movie gained you some type of status in this game. That's kind of cool, right? My least favorite part though is level 2. It's a grass area. There's lots of inclines and declines, and they introduced this really cool flying mechanic in the first level, where you can run and jump and fly, and there's like secrets in the sky. And now you're in a level that doesn't have any flat spots, so you can't fly. So they kind of like instantly take you away from this like really interesting mechanic that they just introduced you to, and it just always feels out of sort. Like it's one of my least favorite levels. You just kind of grind through it quickly. I mean, it's not that long, right? Like it's not like that big of a pain in the butt, but it's just, I don't know, it just kind of breaks the flow.
That's fair. It does. Definitely, this one's always rubbed me the wrong way too, but mine is 1-4 because I literally always skip it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to beat it. You can beat 1-3, get the mushroom hut, and then go to the castle or go do the game, the card game or the select thing.
Yeah, it's fair.
And I literally just skip it because I'm like, it's pain in the ass platforming. It's slow. It's arduous. It is a not good level early on, and you're like, I get that they're like, oh yeah, there'll be levels like this moving forward, and they're like, I hate slow scrolly levels as much as I hate like, because there's sometimes where you want to be able to have freedom or see things beforehand. You really have to like wait, take your time, and it just really just takes out all the momentum in the playthrough. So I literally just skip it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That is fair. How about level 2? We're on a desert/pyramid level. These notes look very familiar to our Super Mario Brothers 2 section for some reason. Favorite part here. So, deserts. I like the hidden area at the end, or the Angry Sun level. So at the very end, you get these little hammers, and you can use them to like break a little pile of rubble, and you can go over and fight 2 fire bros. If you do, you get a third warp whistle, which I had learned about later in life, and I thought, wow, that is absolutely crazy. Or there's a little level where you're running along, there's tornadoes that will blow you up in the air, so you have to kind of have the right momentum and time them. And then later on, this little angry sun shows up, and he tries to burn you to death. So I think that's a pretty fun area.
Yeah, that's a good one. I kind of like the pyramid.
Okay.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I love how there's even starting to become variety on the map. So you got like toad huts, regular levels, fortresses, and then the actual like boss that's roaming around, or sometimes you have hammer bros that are roaming around on the map. This actually has like a little like pyramid that you can go into, and it's fascinating to me. Like I love the way they sorted out the world map in this, and it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it just seems to be lots of different varieties where it feels like you're exploring different aspects. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Well, do you have a least favorite part of the desert?
I hate the sun.
Yeah.
I hate that he flies after me. It stresses me out.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Mine is level 2. It's just way too short. I feel like literally you jump over 2 enemies, then you ride a little block, and then it's just over. And it just, I don't know. I think sometimes these levels are like way too short for their own good. They don't really have that many interesting mechanics or anything like that, right? So it just seems like, I don't want to say lazy game design. That by no means is it lazy, right? But it's just it's uninteresting game design, right? And some of these things where some of these areas are so interesting and unique, and they have so much going on, and then some of them like you just threw something together, eh, buddy? Like rough day at work. All right, so
yeah. No, it's sometimes you can see that they were just filling areas up, and it's just like you don't always get the best stuff. So
yeah,
such as.
So one of the things we should mention, and I guess we'll take cues from our last episode from last week, At the end of every level, you get to a castle. You find out that the ruler of the land has been turned into some type of little monster. So depending what version it is, it's usually an enemy from the game. If it's the All-Star Edition, it's like other levels. So it's like he's a Yoshi, or he's a character from Super Mario Bros. 2 or something like that. They're always kind of like Birdo. You then go to an airship. You fight through kind of like a final end little airship level where there's lots of cannons and little bullet bills. Fight one of the Koopalings, which are kind of just variations of little turtle guys. They each kind of do their own thing. Then you return, or you stop them, get the magic wand, the king returns to normal, and you move on. So,
yeah, and usually you get an item unlocked. So in the first one, you get the permanent momentum. The second one, you get the little cloud, and you get to fly around on the cloud, which is amazing. The third one is the music box. So if you play it, all the enemies will start dancing.
Yep.
And the next level you go into. We can never figure this one out as a kid because we'd try to use it, but you're like, no, you need to use it on the main screen, and then wait till everybody's dancing, and then you can go into the level.
Yeah. So. All right. No, those are touched on. Again, we're trying to give you the full experience and beat this to death, but I figure we should at least touch on that quick. So then we're on to World 3. So we're on to the water level. So what is your favorite part of the water area?
I think finally getting to use just the frog suit and having it be so useful, and it literally makes swimming sections so much not fun, but easier and less pain in the butt, where it feels like you have really good control and you're no longer floaty and you're kind of helpless and you have to get momentum and drop. It feels like you can literally just control. So it's really well done, and I think we did kind of we'll be touching on things kind of just randomly, because this game just throws so much at you. It's so cool that they really did just step it up. There's all these different mechanics and things to explore and discover, and it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it is one of those things where I agree 100%. The frog suit is kind of the best parts, right? It just kind of gives you that control. My least favorite part, though, to piggyback on that, is it definitely makes underwater levels more manageable, but being on land in a frog suit is one of the worst experiences. Yeah, you jump a little bit further, but you have no momentum. You can't run. Everything's just a little bit more awkward to control. So it is kind of a double-edged sword where you use it, and it's kind of a one-use item because you really have to get rid of it for the next area because you're just going to struggle.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, we'd try to get the frog suit, and then we'd work so hard to try to maintain the frog suit through all the next levels, so you could get through because there's two water levels coming up. It will just make it so much easier if we could just get through those. Yeah. So you struggle even harder. It's but then you lose it and you're in kicking yourself. It's no, just get rid of it. Yeah. It's one use, just use it and be done.
That's it. Cool. You have a least favorite part of water area?
3-1-2. It's water and things that jump out of me and slow progression.
Yeah.
So mix all three of my favorite things together.
Awesome, super. So World 4, everyone's favorite, is Tiny or Big Island, I believe is what it's called. So it's pretty exciting. So everything is giant. So my favorite part is everyone's favorite levels. You get big Goombas. There you go. You get fat Hammer Bros, and just big Hammer Bros, as well as one of the final kind of little world bosses. I think is a fat Hammer Bro, gives you an extra P-wing. And when I found that out at one point, I was like, great, I love P-wings. So save them up for that final areas.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I think this is definitely everybody's favorite level aesthetically. Whenever there's a big little level, you're just man, awesome. Yeah. So happy. It's cute. It's really makes the even cuter enemies and world even more adorable and just appealing. You just want to spend time in it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Least favorite part?
I hate to say the same thing, but the underwater sections are just kind of everywhere now. And they're just scattered a bunch, and it's just difficult. I think there was one section with piranha plants and stuff in the water. It's just, I think it's 4-2.
Okay.
And it's just
it's you're fine to cop out too. And if you this game's great, there's lots of good things. If you have your least favorite thing isn't a criticism, it's just of all the great things in this game, this is the least great, right? It's kind of a positive negative type thing. Myself, my least favorite part is there's a castle, but there aren't any big boos. Is this even Big Land? So clearly I was just being going for the joke there. So.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. How about World 5. So it's Skyland. I don't know, you have to travel into the clouds at some point. So what is your favorite part of Skyland?
I don't think anything really stands out too much. I don't know. Sky areas just seems like boring to me.
Okay.
So nothing jumps out.
I will go with the fact that you start off on the ground, right? It's a simple level. There's 3 little areas. There's a castle. You beat all them, and then you have to go to this, like, looks like a kind of like a Tower of Babylon almost, right? That goes into the sky. You climb up through castles, over clouds, through like rooftops, back through castles, through more rooftops, only to appear then in the sky. So it's kind of a lockout. So if you're not skilled enough, like you're playing two players, I might be able to get it to the sky and play the next levels. But if you do not have the skills to overcome kind of the basic mechanics, essentially, let's call it, right? You can't achieve the next area. I think it's a really interesting mechanic, the fact that these 2 areas are tied together through this one level. I kind of wish more levels and more like just worlds would have included this feature. So I think that's kind of probably the biggest standout in my mind of Skyland.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Seems interesting. I think we got here as a kid, and I might have got stuck here, so I probably got frustrated with it.
I feel like there was one time we went to like a day home for a while, and I remember coming at the end of the day, and you guys were like playing through this, and you were in Skyland, and you like sat there and played it all day together as a group. And I remember thinking, like, I was like, oh, this is pretty freaking epic or something like that. And like that's when I got to pick up and play, and I had no skill. Like I was at school all day, and I was like, all right, guys, I'm gonna try this out. And I would think I was able to get into the sky, but like I just got destroyed. So I remember that being like pretty cool experience. My least favorite, again, it's like the least best version. There's one of the areas that has like a buzzy beetle. It's on kind of one of the weird routes that you have to, like, you actually don't have to even play it. So I never play that level. It just doesn't seem that appealing. Like, it's not super fun for me to go out of my way, and I can clearly beat the stage without beating that level. So
yeah, those levels are usually sometimes just like clearly not the strongest levels. That they're like, this is just optional.
Yeah. Yourself?
I think it's 5-9, the one with like multiple just jumps through the sky and just feels like it's a
And there's like little floaty fireball guys. I could see you not liking him.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And then on to level World 6 here. So we're on to Iceland. What is your favorite part of Iceland?
Why don't you go first?
So myself, I know this is where you can unlock the Hammer Brothers suit for the first time. So again, that's one of those like rare. It's like a rumor on the playground. Like, did you know there was a Hammer Brothers suit and you can actually throw hammers in this game? So you'd come to this level specifically to beat one of the random world enemies, like whatever they're called, the little hammer bros or something like that. Unlock it, and you could use it here. You always lost it, right? But just the fact that there was this elusive rare item in this game, this rare drop almost, as it were, I felt like you were farming in some type of like cool RPG or something like that. So I definitely think that kind of stands out in my mind as being like the allure of this area. So
that's fair. They're like, this map is actually probably one of the funnest maps. Like, there's lots of pipes and lots of different, like, if you unlock this, then you can get access to the card shop or whatever the heck it is, the roulette thing. So I love the detail and the effort that they put into it, where it's like, if you beat this level, you can unlock this, or you could just progress.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. Least favorite part of Iceland?
Probably just the controls. I don't like ice in general.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Yeah, it's not too terrible. Do I have like a major gripe? No, not necessarily. No, I like that. I was gonna say like maybe the I like that part, and I mean talk about that. So no, water, is it water area? What's the area where there's like that little brick that you can break and you can jump in a canoe and you can like travel around the world and hit extra mushroom houses? Is that water area?
Let me look at it.
I think so, because I was just thinking,
yeah, it's World 3.
Yeah, I was just thinking like this level is a little bit longer. There's 10 levels or something like that. There's like multiple screens that you have to go across, and it does seem a little bit tedious. I guess maybe like that's anything, is just the levels are fun. It's well designed. I'm glad that there's more of a challenge. It's a little bit of a longer area, but it does the map to my mind does seem just like there's not as much to explore as opposed to the other ones, right? So like we had Big Island, which was like everyone's favorite, and Water Area there's a unlockable canoe section, and there's a hidden part in the desert, and Skyline you have to travel between the two, and then you get to Iceland and it's just a boring long one linear path, like there's just not the same mystique. I guess that's like my least favorite part. So on to Worlds, or you said your least favorite part
Of 6?
Yeah, Iceland.
Iceland. Oh, I'd say, yeah, it was slippery.
Okay.
And I hate ice in general.
World 7, though, we're on to Pipeland. So what is your favorite part of Pipeland?
Yeah, I kind of just, I don't know, the map of this one. I like how it's kind of like a puzzle. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of a little confusing, but it's neat. I feel like you can kind of break the sequence a little bit and mess around. And I always appreciate that in the game. So if I'm getting frustrated with one level, I can try a different one.
Okay.
And there's something very satisfying about going into all those pipes and then hearing that music and then going out somewhere else.
Nice. Yeah. Myself, I enjoy the difficulty of these levels, right? Like it definitely seems like it's a bit of a challenge, right? You could get through Skyland, medium difficulty. Level 6 kicks it up a little bit, but then Pipeline starts to get really, really tough, right? Like there are more interesting mechanics. There's platforms that travel which direction you go on every time you jump on them, right? I enjoy there's that kind of that increase in difficulty, right? Rather than just making everything like butt hard from the beginning, they let you play for a while and then they add the challenge. Hopefully maybe have a P-Wing, because there are a couple levels where you're like, I don't know if I can beat this one, right? And I like that they have to start forcing you to use this, like the stock of power-ups that you've hopefully accrued, and it kind of reinforces the fact that you shouldn't use warp whistles, right? Like there's a benefit to playing through Worlds 1 through 7 kind of thing, right? It's like I know we once had I went to a party and some guys were racing. How fast can you beat Super Mario Brothers 3 or something like that? So like they ran and they grabbed the warp whistles and they like got to level 8 right away. But then they got stuck on these airships. And I always figured that the best way to do is beat levels like 1, 2, and 3, get all that, like a good stockpile. So when you go to Darkland, where it's like really tough, you have the power-ups to help you get through these like challenges, right? Rather than just getting like game over continuously and like hoping like hell. So I kind of like that. It kind of reinforces like, play the whole game. Don't cheat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a very, very important thing when it comes to any Mario games, to learn not to. There's lots of hidden secrets to get you ahead, but try not to do that until like you got a good skill set. But this game also is like, you might want to have some power-ups and some actual like stuff. It will just make your life easier.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to have a manageable time through Bowser's Castle, you will want a P-Wing. Mm-hmm. But if you want to get through, like, let's say the tank with the P-Wing, you should really have both. That means you got to play through at least to World 5.
Yeah.
Or the heck it is. Like, so there's a reason to get it. And I think once you kind of have like a decent set of stuff, if I was like to play this like seriously, to like I want to beat it all, like, yeah, you save your warp whistles and then you play through probably up until like 5 or 6, yeah, and try to grab as much easy like loot and mushroom huts as you can, and then get yourself to the World 8 and try to get as far as you can, because then you'll have like stars for like really hard levels, and you'll have like a couple P-Wings in the thing, and even like have a just like firepower. Like it will just make your life so much easier.
Nice. Yeah, sweet. So, least favorite part of Pipeland?
There's a water level. I think it's 7-2 or 3 or whatever the heck it is, and it is just like there's a wall of squids, and you're just like, why? So you go down to the bottom, and then usually you have one of those big chompers on your butts, and you're like, this is awful. Yeah. I want to go slow so I can avoid the stupid jellyfish, and then there's invincibility frames that aren't long enough to carry you all the way through, so it's just
fair enough.
Pain in the butt.
Okay. My least favorite part is there's one where you have to kind of like time your jumps. One of the last couple levels with these little Bowser weeds as they come out of pipes, and there's piranha plants and they shoot fire. It is very tricky. And it's just like, it's one of those things where like I haven't ever taken the time, because like I'm just at this point wanting to beat the game, so I've never like sat there and like figured out the pattern and developed the reps, right? So that's probably my least favorite part. World 8 is Darkland / Bowser's House / Hell. What is your favorite part of the final area?
Yeah, this is very cool. Lots of, I love just the aesthetic of it. It's darker. The music's changed. we haven't really talked about like the airships, or like we kind of mentioned it, but each level like has an airship, and if you fail, then like they'll like fly off somewhere else. Then you got to go track them down and get on it. The tank and the airship and the 2 airships in this one are two tanks. They're neat, but they're kind of repetitious.
Okay. Yeah.
So I like the atmosphere of these levels, but I don't necessarily like slow scrolly things with me to dodge and just memorize patterns.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, myself, I enjoy the airships. The random kind of hand levels. Levels 1 and 2 are a bit tricky, but it's kind of all a good challenge, right? It just seems like a hodgepodge of like obstacles, right? Like I understand that once you beat an airship, it's done forever. Even if you get a game over, it's just done, right? So it's kind of like use all your lives, beat an airship, you reset, use all your lives, beat an airship. The hand levels are basically just there to give you extra little power ups. Beating 1 and 2, I guess resets. That's like those are like the 2 challenges. But once you beat the castle, you unlock like a shortcut, right? So you can kind of just jump to the end area almost, right? So it's designed in such a way that you're allowed to fail a lot, essentially, right? I mean, it's kind of neat. Now, my least favorite part though it just seems super uneven from a game design level. Like everything else was like, again, clean. They made sense. There was a map that you moved across. This is just random airships and random hands all of a sudden, right? And I feel like I don't know what they were going for exactly. Like, I mean, I know what they were going for. I just don't think it was done 100% perfect. As well as that third airship, it's just so hard. There's so many little flying wrenches, and it moves so quickly. Yeah, that's tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good aesthetics, maybe not the best execution.
Fair enough. Where are we at? So then, you as theory, you get through these levels. You beat a castle. There's a couple airships you go through. You are at Bowser's castle. Did you say your least favorite part?
Yeah. Well, just the slow scrolling and the too many projectiles and stuff. And just like it feels kind of monotonous.
And your favorite part?
The atmosphere. Okay. I love the tunes, and I love how it's like dark backgrounds and you're on tanks and airships and feels very like industrial.
Cool. So we storm into Bowser's castle after all is said and done. There is a certain pattern if you know it. You kind of have to fight through these little corridors, go through this door, in a big lava room. You want to try and get up to the top right corner, and if you get through that door, again, it's some basic platforming, avoid some laser beams and fire flowers, and finally we fight Bowser. He's going to try and butt stomp us. And as he does, he breaks apart the floor. The idea is you want to try and make a hole so that he breaks down into the hole below and is trapped in this bottomless pit. We then go into an area. We defeat Bowser. We enter the prison cell, only to have Princess Peach troll us and tell us our princess is in another castle. Just kidding. She kisses us, and we see the credits afterwards. You can press start, and you can play the game again with full item slots of P-Wings.
That's crazy. Yeah. I love the Bowser battle where it's just simple him kick or like trying to sit on you, and if you do end up walking in with a fire flower, you can just light him up. So, and that does kill him.
Nice. So that's the ending. Current thoughts.
Awesome. May not be perfect, but I mean it's pretty close to perfect for an NES game. Like, given their limitations, it's like, how do you cram this much content and an adventure and a legit world in a tiny little cartridge? Like, this feels amazing.
Yeah, as myself, pretty darn close to perfect as they come, right? Sprite design is top notch, levels are solid, new power ups are so memorable. I would say that the Raccoon Mario / Tanuki suits are some of the most iconic power ups, right? Like maybe more power than the fire flower or something like that. Like Mario just kind of has, like, he can shoot fire flower power now as like a default attack almost, and the Tanuki suit is kind of more of the iconic power up. So like that's pretty impressive that they were able to kind of achieve that and maintain that spot there. How about, what would you change?
I would just say, actually, I wouldn't change too much. Like, I can nitpick like some platforming and some slow scrolling things, but that's just my taste. I think that this game is so darn close to perfect. It's so neat. It's like there's a little bit of flaws here and there, but like it isn't perfect. But like God darn it, for an NES game, what more could you ask?
Oh, and that's like, you basically just read my notes. Like, it's pretty close to a perfect experience. You can complete it, you can speedrun it, you can play just the unlocked version with unlimited P. It's a flawless experience, right? Like the unlimited P-Wings afterwards is kind of fun. Some of the levels are a bit short, so I might just like those couple levels that I maybe nitpicked throughout, like add a little bit more substance to them, right, along the way, but that's about it. And then a final, are you buying it? And we'll get out of here. So this game is a play. It opens up with a curtain up. The platforms are all suspended in the air, and you exit stage right.
Could be. Could be. I know that's the setup in Mario All-Stars, so...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That they're all just playing through it.
There you go. So with that, that's another episode in the bank. We still got one coming at you next week, and we're back to like our bi-weekly schedule kind of after that. But again, this is the better treatment for these fun games. Glad we went back to them. Did we miss anything?
No. I think we gushed enough about this game, and this game defined the modern adventure game and the Mario franchise as a whole. Like, this game is the OG. Go back and play it.
Nice. Sweet. Okay. Well, so that's, I think that's all we got, guys. Like, that's a good week, and talk to you in a week.
Yep. Talk to you later. I think I gotta say James Bond, and goodbye.
Bye.